My name is Julie Smith. I've been married for 20 years. 10 years ago, my father-in-law was diagnosed with dementia, and initially, my mother-in-law, who was healthy at the time, took care of him. However, it wasn't long before she was also diagnosed with mild dementia. Realizing we couldn't go on like this, our family decided to move into my in-laws' house. As a result, I've been juggling household chores, caregiving, and work every day, and I've really felt the strain. You'd think I could just ask my husband for help, but he's someone who hates the ideas of effort and trying hard. Huh? Help with what? Like, helping out with the chores. That's the wife's job. Haven't you always been the one doing it? Or helping with the caregiving? You think I can do that? Why do I have to? Because they're your parents. Nah, that sounds tiring. Don't you ever think about trying a little harder? Look, the words effort and trying hard aren't in my dictionary. That's how unwilling he is. And when my father-in-law, who has severe dementia, starts causing trouble, my husband just yells at him, making things even worse. Obviously, this just adds to my workload. I wish he would at least focus on his job, but that's hopeless too. My husband is the kind who absolutely detests working, a real lazybones. Mention that, and he just wanders out of the house, not coming back for days. Seeing all this, our only son left home as soon as he graduated from high school, saying he couldn't stand to be in such a house any longer. Apparently, just being around his grandparents with dementia was driving him insane. It really made me see how useless the men in my family are. And because of that, I'm caught in a never-ending cycle of busyness. One day, my husband came out with something unbelievable. My mistress is pregnant, so you need to leave. He said that and thrusted divorce papers at me. I couldn't comprehend what he was saying. A mistress for a man who seemed only interested in playing around? If such a woman exists, she's welcome to him, I thought. But considering my in-laws, I couldn't just say that. Huh? Are you serious about this? Yeah, of course. You really have a mistress? Yeah, younger and prettier than you. It must be a shock, but it's the truth, so there's nothing to be done. I wasn't shocked at all. But I couldn't just agree because my husband was oblivious to reality. So, you want to live with her because she's pregnant? Yeah, that's right. Here? Yeah. Exactly. You do realize you have parents with dementia, right? Dementia isn't a big deal. You say that because you haven't seen what it's like. If you had to take care of them yourself, you'd understand how hard it is. You're exaggerating. Just leave the old man and woman be, it's not a big deal. How can you say that? And how are you going to live without working? How will you manage living expenses? It's fine, she's working. So, he's found another host to parasitize. What a man. Even if she's working now, who knows how long she can keep it up while pregnant? And once the baby is born, someone has to take care of it, right? That's for the mother to figure out. We managed just fine, didn't we? That was a different situation, wasn't it? Different situations or not, things will work out. Nothing I say gets through. My husband, blind to the difficulties ahead, plans to dump everything on his mistress. If they can make it work, fine. But can they take care of his parents? What about your mom and dad's care? You might not realize it, but it's not that simple. There are nursing homes for that. They can get professional care there. It's not a problem at all, even without you. So, you just want the house? Yeah, that's right. I'm the eldest son. I have the right to inherit this house. Got it. Do as you like. With that, I signed my name on the divorce papers. Goodbye. When I had the documents in my hand, my husband snatched the divorce papers from me. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm taking the divorce papers. No. I'll be the one to take these divorce papers. Oh? Really? He had let me handle even the smallest things, so I thought he'd expect me to submit the divorce papers too. But apparently, this was different. If I let you do it, you might end up not submitting them at all. So, I'll be the one to submit them. The one who would be troubled by a divorce is him, the one who would be relieved is me. Yet, the idea that I might not submit the papers showed just how clueless he was, and I couldn't help but laugh. I had endured 20 years for such a man. So, he was foolish, and perhaps I was a fool as well. So, you can pack your bags and leave without worry. Once you're out, she'll be moving in immediately, he said cheerfully. His face was so smug. All right. I'll pack my bags and leave, but first, I'll say goodbye to your mom and dad. There's no need for that. They're senile, they won't understand anything. Whether you leave or stay, it doesn't make a difference to their addled brains. What a thing to say. After everything they've done for him. Doesn't he have a shred of gratitude? Determined that I had no lingering feelings for such a foolish man, I packed my belongings and left the house. Though I've left, I have nowhere to go. Maybe I'll stay in a motel for the time being. Thus, I found myself at a motel, and the next day, I started looking for a new place to live. But I couldn't help worrying about my in-laws. Without me, my mother-in-law might manage, but what about my father-in-law? With no one to watch, the house could turn into chaos due to his condition. Could my lazy husband and his mistress possibly handle it? While I didn't care what happened to them, I felt sorry for my in-laws, who would be cared for by such a pair. But there's nothing I can do. After all, I was the one divorced, and there's nothing a divorced woman can do. I shook off the remaining feelings and focused on my future. A few days later, I managed to find an ideal condo, completed the lease, and moved in. This is now my home. It was when I was looking around the room, feeling something refreshing. My phone rang. The screen showed it was Eric. I wonder what it is. Despite being curious, I didn't feel like answering and decided to leave it be. But then, it was the following month. The phone would occasionally ring again, and each time I checked, it was Eric. Today, when I realized my phone was on silent because of work, I saw an unbelievable number of missed calls. The sheer number of calls sent a chill down my spine. I guess I have no choice but to answer, after all. I never wanted to speak to him again, but with this many calls, it's taking a toll on my sanity. When I answered, Eric sounded pitiful. My parents need help. Oh, Eric, you seem quite lively. What do you mean lively? Don't mess with me. I've been calling you non-stop since you left. Why won't you answer? Well, receiving calls from an ex-husband doesn't exactly make me eager to answer. Don't I need time to heal my emotional wounds? What emotional wounds? I'm in a real mess here. Seems like he's finally understood a bit of the hardship. So, you've started to understand the hardship? But it's not hard for you, is it? After all, you always dismissed what I said as exaggerating. Look, I'm sorry, okay? Just listen to me. Well, I suppose I can listen to your story. Actually, I was thinking of putting my parents into a nursing home with care services. Oh, you mentioned a nursing home, didn't you? Yeah, and I took them there. Wow, quick to act. Did you carefully choose the place? There are so many nursing homes, after all. Who has time for that? I thought it would be a disaster if I didn't get them into a nursing home as soon as possible, so I just took them to one nearby. Huh, didn't know there was one around there. Yeah, it opened about 6 months ago. Then it must have few residents, so they were accepted quickly, right? Yeah, exactly. We were able to sign the contract the same day, and my parents could move in immediately. Then there's no problem, is there? There's no need for you to ask me for help. But the deposit was high. You mean the one-time payment when moving in? Yeah, it was $8,000 per person. Oh, that's cheap. That's on the cheaper side. In New York, it can be more just to move in. You're lucky you found a cheaper place. That's considered cheap? Yes, well, there are some places where the entrance fee is $0. Really? That's why you should have done your research. Damn. Did you sign the contract? Yeah, I thought it was the only option, so I signed it. Well, I'm sure your dad and mom will receive proper care. If it's expensive, it usually means better care, right? You should be relieved you can trust them with your parents. That's good for you. Not at all. The entrance fee for both was $16,000. If it ended there, I could manage, but on top of that, it's $5,000 per month for each. That's $10,000 for both. Oh, well, they're renting a room, plus there are costs for baths and meals. But they're old, they hardly eat much. Don't yell at me. Why does it cost $5,000 a month? I think that's on the cheaper side. It's $10,000 for both of them. You don't need to tell me, I can do the math. I'm not working, you know. Then you should get a job. Working means losing. What kind of nonsense is that? A grown man acting like some lazy bum. Besides, putting your parents into a care facility means it's going to cost money. What are you complaining about now? You're the one being unreasonable. I don't have the money. That's nothing to brag about. If you knew you didn't have the money, why did you sign the contract? They must have explained the costs before you agreed. I thought we'd manage somehow. She's been working all this time, so I figured she must have that kind of money. Oh dear. Then she says, yes, she has savings, but it's for the child we're expecting. She won't contribute a dime. Well, she said that as a mother. Sounds like she's actually thought this through. Good for her. Not good at all. I'm struggling here, and she's not giving a thought about me. And since it was my idea to put them in the home, she says I should have the money for it, right? Tell me to pay for it myself. Right, that makes sense. But if you don't have the money, why not just bring your dad and mom back home? A contract is just a piece of paper at the moment, and they're not going to want to keep people who can't pay. I left them there. Left them? As in? Yeah. Talking about your in-laws like there's some item you forgot. You left your dad and mom there? Yeah. They agreed to keep them without payment? We said we'd pay next month. And you can pay by next month? Do you understand what happens if you can't? We'd have to pay the $16,000 entrance fee and $10,000 for 1 month. So, you'll end up paying anyway. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm in trouble. Well, you put yourself in this situation. You knew it was expensive, you shouldn't have put them in a home in the first place. I can't just leave them at home. They'd been at home until now, haven't they? They have dementia. You have no idea how hard it is. I know, I've been dealing with it for 10 years. All by myself, without anyone's help. Don't act like you know anything after just a month. Right, my bad. Oh, look at that, he's actually admitting fault. Hardship does lead to growth, it seems. I can't keep them at home. Why not? Because they have dementia, and we don't have anyone to care for them. But you have your wife. You're living with her, right? She's working. She says she can't do caregiving after coming back from work. Huh, I managed to do it. And she's saying she's gonna quit her job soon. Oh, she's quitting? Isn't it still a long way to her due date? She's pregnant, so it must be hard on her body. Does she not know you're not working? Yeah. So, Eric hasn't revealed he's essentially unemployed? Pregnant women can do anything if they put their mind to it. Not all of them stop doing things. Some work right up until they're about to give birth. I don't want her to go through that kind of hardship. Then you should work and take care of them. Taking care of them would tire me out. I'd be completely drained. How can he be so utterly self-centered? I just can't understand it. I've always disliked people who don't make an effort. And yet, I married such a man. Life is truly unpredictable. Anyway, you'll have to borrow money from somewhere. And then you start working. For her sake. What am I supposed to do for work? I hate working. This conversation is going nowhere. If you called just to complain, I'm hanging up. It's not a complaint. This is a complaint. You know what you need to do, but you just don't want to do it. I don't have time to listen to this. I don't know what to do. Find a job that seems doable. You have no choice but to work. Of course, I need to work to eat. So he understands he needs to work, but his desire not to work is stronger. This guy is a born freeloader.
I get tired easily. If I work, I get exhausted quickly. That's why I never worked.
All lies. How could he go out every day if he gets tired so easily? Does he think I don't see through that?
If I work and then have to do everything at home, I can't take care of them.
I've been doing it all along.
You're strong for a woman. That's why you're not cute.
And you're too weak for a man. That's why you can't be relied on.
She's quitting her job too, and there's no way we can pay for the nursing home. If this goes on, my parents will have to come back.
Then you'll just end up in debt.
She's stressed out too and says she doesn't want to live with them. She won't take care of them at all.
Why did he even consider a nursing home when he's never worked? He probably thought it would be free or something sweet like that. That naivety has led to his current situation. No use complaining about being tired now. When I tell Eric that, he admits, yeah, I was naive. But he's adamant about not changing his mind on putting them in a home, so there's nothing to be done. What a fool. Well, without money, a home is out of the question, isn't it? Even if you find a job now, you won't make $10,000 a month. And even if you did, using that would leave you with nothing to live on. So, it seems like giving up and having one of you focus on caregiving is the only option, doesn't it? If you're so set on home care, then you do it. Excuse me? What are you saying?
You should be the one to take care of them.
Eric seems to think he's come up with a great idea, but I'm a divorced woman. You remember we're divorced, right?
Yeah, I remember.
So why should I care?
Are you hiring me?
Hiring? Why? If you come and do the caregiving, everything will be settled. You could even be a housekeeper, and I'll let you live here. As flattered as I am by your generous offer, I'm going to have to firmly decline. After all, I have my own life to live.
Why not?
No, the real question is why should I? Why should I do it when we're divorced? Just when I've finally become free.
You've been doing it up until now, haven't you?
You're the one who decided to have an affair and get a divorce. You take responsibility.
Don't say that. You're not that cold-hearted, are you?
Eric suddenly starts whining. He must have thought he couldn't browbeat me. He resorts to whining, as usual, trying to manipulate the situation.
My dad's dementia is getting worse. He doesn't even recognize me.
Come to think of it, he hardly mentioned Eric's name when we lived together.
Plus, he treats her like a thief, chasing her with a broom. He mistakes the bath for the toilet and pees in the tub, no matter how many times we tell him.
Just rinse it out. It's not that big of a deal.
That's not a joke. We have to use that tub.
It's happened before.
What? When I tell my mom to do something about it, she screams and yells your name.
That hit home. It hurts. She must be looking for me.
No matter how much she calls for you, you never come, so she throws things at me. I can't count how many things have been broken. If we let him go shopping, he buys the same thing over and over. In this condition, putting them in a home is only natural. I'm not at fault here. She started saying she doesn't want to stay in this house either.
That's no different from before. You just never noticed. That's why your son left the house, because it was too hard.
So you're used to this situation, right? Then if you come back, everything will be solved.
I refuse. Doing that would ruin my life. How would I survive without a salary? They're your parents, so you should take responsibility.
I don't have the money. Right. Then, at least send me some money.
Excuse me? Why would that be?
You've been managing it every month, haven't you? That means you've been supporting the family, right? You said you were putting in $10,000 a month.
Indeed, it costs about $9,000 a month. 3 adults and 2 requiring care. The expenses were significant. But, the truth is, that money wasn't really coming from me. The money came from my in-laws, who had been desperately saving it to leave for Eric. But they never imagined it would cost them so much. They didn't foresee their only son becoming unemployed. Seeing me working hard every day, juggling work, caregiving, and household chores, my mother-in-law gave me that money saying, please use it. So, it's not money I can freely use. It was always meant to cover the monthly shortfall. And no matter how hard I worked, I could never earn $9,000 on my own. Especially when I could only dedicate a tiny fraction of my time to work because of the housework and caregiving. Eric doesn't seem to understand that.
Just keep giving me that $9,000 each month.
Why?
Because I don't have any money.
Why should I, a stranger to you, have to support you?
It's obvious, isn't it? Because I'm in a tough spot. Plus, if you could provide that much each month, it means you must have a substantial income.
Enough with the dependency. We are strangers now. I have absolutely no obligation to support you. You remarried, thinking you'd live off her, didn't you? Let her earn the money. She can't work, that's why I'm saying this. Then you work. I have no intention of supporting you. You heartless person. You shouldn't say that to someone you divorced. After you cheated.
Come on, don't be like that. It's not just that. Actually, my mom has heart disease.
I know that. I was always informed about your mother's heart condition. Saying this now means you never listened.
She said her chest was hurting, so I took her to the hospital. Then they said she needed emergency hospitalization. She has to have surgery. When I said we couldn't afford the hospitalization, even the doctor got angry at me. Doctors, they act all high and mighty because they have money. As if surgery is the most natural thing in the world. Plus, they scare you by saying she could die if we don't do it. With a nursing home already costing us, how can we afford surgery fees?
I don't think it's a matter of not having money, you know? It's a matter of life.
The hospitalization and surgery will cost over $50,000. There's nothing I can do about it.
I anticipated this situation, which is why I switched to my current job.
What job are you doing?
I'm an accessory designer. I'm making quite a lot now.
Then help me out.
I have no intention of helping you.
Don't say that, come on.
It's your fault for not working. Not only did you not work, but you also got a mistress and even had a child with her. Relying on a woman for a living is just too naive. And thinking someone else will take care of your parents, isn't that why you're in this mess? Try to solve some problems on your own for once.
All right. I got it. I'll do that from now on, but please help me out this time.
Eric says he understands, but his words sound insincere, as if he doesn't grasp anything at all. Helping him would be pointless. I've already started my own life. I'm not free enough to deal with you. Fine then. Forget I asked. Idiot. With that, Eric hung up the phone. Having been told off like this, he should figure things out on his own. That's what I thought, but 6 months later. Hey, Julie. How are you? I'm calling because we had the baby. I don't particularly want to be informed about his mistress's baby being born. Yet, for someone who just had a child, Eric doesn't sound happy at all. In fact, his voice is quite gloomy. Congratulations. Being a dad at your age, it's going to be tough from here on. Tough from now? It's already a nightmare. Oh, what happened? I'll listen if you just want to talk. Actually, after she had the baby, she disappeared. Disappeared? What do you mean?
Yeah, I woke up one morning to find a note saying, "The child is yours. Please take care of them. I have found someone I love and am leaving this house."
Typical of Eric's mistress to be so irresponsible. What am I supposed to do? She had the baby, and I was counting on her to work. Plus, I managed to scrape together the money for her surgery and the birth expenses amidst having no money. With 2 people with dementia and a newborn baby, it's impossible for me to work. If he really wanted to work, he could find a way, but he's still making excuses.
Look, I was wrong. I apologize, so let's start over. If you pay for the nursing home with your money, and they are taken care of, you can work all you want, right? That way, I'll be freed from this hell. Come on, let's get back together.
Eric, even now, harbors such naive thoughts. A hopeless man through and through.
I'll be serious from now on. Please, help me.
Enough already. I've told you I have no intention of helping you.
But I can't do anything if you don't help me. Are you going to abandon me too? Are you really going to leave me on my own?
Eric's pleas are pitiful, but I am a stranger now. As much as I feel sorry for him, showing mercy now wouldn't save him, it would only drag me back into a life I've escaped from. I hardened my heart and rejected Eric.
Are you really going to change? Yeah, I've changed. Let's start over. If we get remarried, I swear I'll never cheat again. I might even work.
Might?
No, I mean, I will work, probably definitely.
That means he has no intention of working. If I helped him, he'd likely return to his old ways.
Well, if I see you working hard and making an effort, maybe I'll consider it. Let's say, if you keep a job at one company for 3 years, then call me again. Okay, I got it.
With that, Eric ended the call. Eric said he understood, but after borrowing money from somewhere to pay for the nursing home, he started working while taking care of the child. However, that was only for a short while, and when I went to check on them, I saw the child in a state akin to neglect. Fearing the child would become unhappy, I decided to give the child up for adoption to a couple. I knew them, who are full of love. The child will undoubtedly be happier with them than with Eric. After giving the child up, Eric seemed relieved. Since then, there's been no contact from the mistress. Eventually, burdened with a large debt and continuing to pay it off alone, Eric disappeared one day. The debt, of course, being in Eric's name, will surely follow him wherever he goes. Without considering this, he left a note. That was saying, "Please do not look for me." All I thought was, I won't look for you. When Eric was gone and I visited the nursing home, I found his parents living healthily. It seems there's no issue with his mother's heart either. However, there was one problem: the monthly fees for the home. When I discussed this with his mother, she asked me to use the savings account she had entrusted to me. It turned out I would manage his mother's finances as a sort of legal guardian. With this arrangement, she can now live comfortably in the nursing home and smiled.
When we pass away, the remaining money in the house will be yours, Julie. Please do with it as you please. It's the least we can do to atone for the trouble we've caused you.
I took their hand and thanked her, but I plan to spend all the money on them before they pass away. I want to feed them their favorite foods and take them on trips. That's how I want to build our happiness together.